We're just starving here. Are we live? Okay. Welcome to another meeting of the Corporations, Elections, and Political Subdivisions Committee. Today is Insurance Day. Barb, will you please call the roll?
Representative Chadwick. Representative Harrelson. Representative Harshman.
Excused.
Vice Chairman Knapp.
Here.
Representative Newsom. Representative Ottman. Representative Wiley. Representative Yin. Chairman Olson.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, the first bill for our consideration is Senate File 5, Medical Malpractice Statutory Update. We have the Insurance Department. Welcome.
I think we're good. All right, very good. Mr. Chairman, committee members, I'm Jeff Root. I'm the Insurance Commissioner. I was expecting a bigger crowd, but we'll go without them. It is insurance after all. So with me is Ms. Tana Howard, our deputy, and Brian Stevens, our licensing supervisor. I'll be talking about Senate File 5. It is a very small change to our medical malpractice reporting requirements. Annually, there's a requirement in the statute that all malpractice insurers send data to us. Breaks down the cases and where they fell. Was it a nurse practitioner? Was it an anesthesiologist? That sort of data. And we've done this for a number of years because it helps us keep tabs, if you will, on our malpractice market. In 2005 and 2006, we had a malpractice crisis. In the insurance market, we only had two carriers that did 90% of the business in the state. And so this is part of our annual report. I want to continue it to be in our annual report, but what I would like to do is I'd like to do away with, or have the option of doing away with the statutory requirements and allow us to use a national practitioners database. The information's out there, it's even open to the public, but we can take that information, do our analysis, and it's much simpler on us. And if we do that, then we don't have to go to the insurers and require them to give us this information. It's always a back and forth with our office on how they categorize it. Did they break out the head nurse from the nurse practitioner, from the post nurse, operative nurse on this particular case? It's a back and forth. It's really inefficient. It's really a win-win for everybody. We're able to do it. It's much quicker, easier, and they don't have to do it at all. The other change we would make would be if down the road something were to happen and the National Practitioners Database went away, we'd give industry 3 months warning and say we're going back to the old system that's already in statute. And so if you look at the bill, it's really pretty simple. The changes are on page 2. It makes it at our discretion if we will get the information from the statute. And then if something were to happen and we would need to give them 3 months notification that we're going to go back to the old system, we still could. With that, I'll stand for questions.
Committee questions? All right. Thank you. Do you have additional testimony, or are you just here in case we have questions?
Mr. Chairman, since I did the easy bill, they're going to do the much more lengthy bill when we come back up for Senate File 6.
Gotcha. Okay. Any other public testimony on this bill? Do we have online testimony? No? Okay, I'll close public testimony. Committee, what is your pleasure on Senate File 5? It's been moved by Representative Haroldson and seconded by Representative Chadwick. There any amendments to page 1 of this bill? Amendments to page 2? Is there any discussion on this bill? All right, Barb, will you do a roll call vote on Senate File 5, medical malpractice statutory update?
Representative Chadwick?
Aye.
Representative Haroldson?
Aye.
Representative Harshman? He didn't leave a vote.
Excuse.
Vice Chairman Knapp?
Aye.
Representative Newsom?
Aye.
Representative Ottman?
Aye.
Representative Wiley?
Aye.
Representative Yin?
Aye.
Chairman Olson?
Aye,
8 aye, 1 excused.
perfect. All right, and Representative Haroldson, this one is yours to floor manage, if you're still good with that? Okay, thank you very much for taking that. Next bill for our consideration is Senate File 6, Insurance Rebating Modernization. Welcome back.
Mr. Chairman, once again, it's Jeffrey from the Insurance Department, along with Ms. Tana Howard, the deputy, and Brian Stevens, our licensing supervisor, and I will turn it over to them to present the bill.
Mr. Chairman, Brian Stevens with the Department of Insurance, the licensing supervisor. Thanks for hearing this for us. This is on Senate File 6, Insurance Rebating Modernization. As I'm sure you've all noticed, there's a lot of red in this bill. Don't worry, we're not making that many changes. A lot of this is existing language. We're consolidating 4 sections into 2. We've had to move a lot of language around to make that work. I will point out as I go through here what is existing and what is new language. The reason
Something else maybe you can, if you know, that you can point out as you move along is we have an engrossed version. So what the Senate did to modify the bill, if you know?
I can certainly do that, yes.
Okay, thanks.
The reason we're turning 4 sections into 2 is because right now there are different rules for property and casualty insurers and for life and health insurers and agents on what they may and may not do as far as rebating. We're consolidating this to make it consistent across all lines. The reason we're modernizing this is because our current laws haven't been revised since 1983. They're pretty punitive in nature. There are 55 jurisdictions in the NAIC. Of those 55, 49 of them have more recent rebating laws than we do. So we thought it was probably about time. What we're using here is new NAIC model language that was approved in 2021. So far, it has been adopted by 7 states and it is in process by several others. Thus far, we've got unanimous support from industry on the changes that we're making here. Industry groups have previously testified on this bill during the interim and in the other chamber to put what they would prefer for the allowable amounts and for some updated language. And with that, I will get started. So on page 1, line 4 of the engrossed version, where it says authorizing, I believe the previous version said requiring rulemaking. The rulemaking is at the discretion. It is not a shall, it is a may. So that was just a cleanup within the title. As we move on to page 2, you'll see some statutes crossed out and updated throughout here. We're just updating statutory references since we are consolidating those sections. As a lot of this, you'll see crossed out individuals on line 12 to current or prospective insureds or insured risks. That update was brought to us by industry in the other chamber. We got together, figured out some language that would work for what they wanted and what we wanted and have updated it there. It used to just say insureds. Now it says current or prospective insured or insured risks. A lot of these changes, again, we're making language consistent across all lines. That's what you'll see on the changes on line 15 and 16 on page 1. On line 20, or page 2, excuse me. Line 20 on page 2, you'll see disability crossed out. We've done that a few places throughout this. There's no need to include specific lines. It's all insurance. We're making it all consistent. On to page number 3, on line 9, we've removed knowingly permit and changed it to authorize. We've changed that because it's kind of hard to prove knowledge unless there's something written down. So we want to make sure that we make it as easy as possible for enforcement. On line 15, we added receiver accept because we want to make sure policyholders are held to the same standards as the insurers. They can't feign ignorance if what they are doing is wrong. And again, no need to include specific lines on line 16. Moving on to page 4, lines 5 through 11 are currently in 2613-109. They are also included in the model language. We're moving that over to 2613-110 in the effort to consolidate the statute and make everything equal across all lines. Starting on line 13 and going to the end of page 5, this is all being moved over from 2613-111 into 110. On page 6, lines 1 through 6 are currently in 2613-112. Lines 8 through 15 are currently in 2613-111. And starting on line 17, we start to get into the model language. This is telling what the insurers may offer. It's referred to in the industry as value-added products. And on line 7, it shows what those products are intended to do. They can provide loss mitigation, reduce claim costs, provide education, monitor or assess risks, enhance health or financial wellness, and on page 8, provide post-loss services. So what this is meant to say is, when we're talking about an insurance company, if you were to have a property insurance policy on your home and the insurer wanted to give you, say, carbon monoxide detectors to help reduce your risk, they would be able to do that because they're reducing the risk of claims at the home. Lines 10 through 13 specify that the cost must be reasonable in comparison to the premiums. And line 16 ensures that contact information to assist in the use of the products that are provided is provided. Starting on page 20, we need evidence that the product or service that is being offered will do what it is intended.
Sorry, was that page 20? Or you mean line?
Line 20, yeah.
Page what?
Page 8, line 20. I apologize.
Representative Harshman.
Are you on the engrossed copy?
I am.
Okay, I'm, a few of my lines are different, I think. Go ahead. I'm tracking, I'm getting
Okay.
lines too off.
So yes, I am on page 8, line 20, starting with subparagraph E. Subparagraph E announces that we need evidence that the product or service that the insurer is offering will do what it is intended. So if we move over to page 9, it shows that if they don't have that so far, like let's say they can't prove that giving a fire extinguisher will reduce the risk of fire in a home, they can offer a pilot or a testing program where they can collect that data and show that if we have given this product to these policyholders, it does reduce the risk. We have to be notified as a department of the launching of a pilot program, and it can go forward unless we object within 25 days or 21 days. On line 10 on page 9, this shows what insurance producers may do. The amounts that are listed in the next few paragraphs were come up with the collaboration of industry. The Association of Wyoming Insurance Agents came in and testified on what they thought would be fair. These amounts do differ from the model, but we are confident that they are appropriate for the business culture in Wyoming. So starting on line 1 on page 10, this shows that on any policy, non-cash gifts or services may be provided by the agent in the amount of $100 or 5%, but not to exceed $1,000 of the written premium for current customers. And lines 6 through 9 on page 10 show that it's quoted premium for prospective customers. What this means is if you're a commercial client of an insurance agent, you have a 4-person board of directors, that agent can reasonably take your board out for dinner in order to talk about the policy and make sure everybody's on the same page. We feel like this is going to be more business friendly rather than saying, no, you can't do anything. You have to do it at the office and everybody has to be there, and no gifts can exchange hands, or you can't buy lunch for someone. Starting on line 11, it says that these insurance agents can conduct raffles as long as they are permitted by state law. They do have to follow state gaming laws, which say that it can be open to anybody and that the drawings must be random. Starting on line 20 on page 10, this language says that the insurers or insurance agents need to keep receipts on any gifts or raffle items that are given out. And on raffle items, they need to keep proof that the drawing was random. On page 11, line 5, this says that the department may adopt rules and regulations. On page 11, lines 9 through 19 are current definitions from 2613-112. Line 21 on page 11 specifies the chapters that are being deleted as they are being consolidated in. And on page 12, the act will be effective on July 1st, 2023. That is the meat of the bill, and I will stand for any questions.
So as I was tracking, it looks like the Senate really didn't do a whole lot to this bill then. It was just that first page or two where there was an amendment or two, and that's it.
Mr. Chairman, that's correct.
Representative Newsom?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a question on page 4, line 9. It says unfairly discriminate. I assume that's some sort of legal term, so you can fairly discriminate? I'm a little confused.
Mr. Chairman, Representative, there's lawful discrimination in certain cases. You can be rated for certain factors, like long-term health care, life insurance if you're obese. You could be rated higher than if you're a marathon runner.
Just to follow up.
Yes, follow up, please.
So unfairly means the regular discrimination, sex, religion, blah, blah, blah.
As stated in, federal law, as the federal regulators do, whether gender in some cases.
Committee, additional questions? Representative Ottman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could you please just remind me what types of insurance this covers?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Ottman, this covers all lines of insurance. Life, health, property, casualty. As long as we regulate it, this statute will apply.
Additional questions, committee? No? Okay. Thank you. Public comment. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Ken Houck. I'm the Executive Vice President of the Association of Wyoming Insurance Agents. We appreciate the opportunity to testify today and appreciate the consideration you've given to this topic. Since you're all new to the Corporations Committee, I thought I'd give you a little background on who we are. The Association of Wyoming Insurance Agents, or commonly referred to as AWIA, has been around since 1933 under different names, since mid-90s under our current name. I've been part of AWIA since the 80s as a member, as a board member, as the EVP twice now in my career. And if those of you who were at the Shrimp Bash saw the signs up there, some of them said independent insurance agents. So we are independent insurance agents. Our members provide property and casualty insurance, as well as some life and health, more health than we used back in the good old days, but not quite as much health insurance anymore because it's the way things have changed. But so we basically are independent business owners running their own businesses under the format of the licensing of the insurance department. Our members represent many, many companies. Most of them represent probably 20 to 100 companies. Our membership includes over 250 licensed agents in 83 different office locations in about 40 different towns, owned by 18 different ownership groups. You're going to see numerous brands, insurance brands, if you walked into an independent agent's office, Liberty Mutual, Safeco, Acuity, Hartford, Nationwide, Travelers, Progressive, some of those kind of companies. I would like to make sure we clarify that what we aren't. We are not captive agents. So you will see there are a lot of insurance agents in Wyoming that are captive agents. That means you work for one company, and when you drive by their office, that brand name is on the door, not Bill's Insurance Agency. There are also another group called direct writers, and there's a couple of companies that are really active up here with direct writers. And to my knowledge, they don't have any agents in the state. They function from remote locations, but they are employees of that company. So those who are captives are actually their own entrepreneurs, but they're limited to just their one company typically. So that's a little bit who we are. Welcome to the Corporations Committee. I don't know if you know this, you probably don't. The Insurance Code, Title 26 of the statutes has 961 pages in it. I'm assuming you've all read that, so you know what we're doing. Ironically, or maybe not so, that's more pages than any of the other 42 titles of the Constitution. Not the Constitution, the statutes. Your predecessors have done a good job of creating some regulations, and that's good. That's good. Just to give you an example, for example, the banking regulations, they're Title 13. They have 201 pages in the banking section. So you might want to consider giving those guys behind me a raise. Okay, so speaking on behalf of Senate File 6, this is a relatively small bill. I don't want you to gloss over it like it's nothing important, because it really is. It's a very important subject. I've been a licensed agent since 1973. This is the first time in my entire career that there's been a concerted effort to really modernize this, bring this up to the 21st century, if you will. It's never been discussed on a nationwide basis before the last few years. And so it's long overdue, and you've heard some of the statistics from the insurance department. This has been a collaborative effort. It's not just the insurance department wanting to do their thing. It's not just the NAIC, because the National Association of Insurance Commissioners took the lead, but the National Council of Insurance legislators, people like you from other states that are interested, they participated. The National Insurance Producer Associations, people like our group, they participated, and the National Insurance Company groups have all participated. So this is a collaboration of the entire industry. And again, I've never seen that in my history of being in this business. And they alluded to the fact that there's quite a few states that have already done this, and there's a lot of states talking about it right now. So this is going to occur countrywide, and the nice thing about the way the NAIC came out with this was they allowed the states to modify it a little bit to make it fit their world better. And I think we've accomplished that. So that being said, I'll stand for any questions, but we appreciate your consideration.
Committee? Representative Harshman?
Mr. Hauk, how many years have you been doing this lobbying business or represented your group? It's been a few.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Harshman, it'd be 4 years, I believe. It's 4.5 maybe.
How many years you been in this business?
January was 50 years.
Nice. All right, well done. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So I guess I find it really interesting that that raffles were not permitted until recently. I would just imagine lots of businesses have raffles as part of their marketing.
Mr. Chairman, I will have to tell you, in the 90s, I sold insurance, commercial insurance all over the state of Wyoming. And I sold insurance to a lot of large property risks like hotel chains, et cetera. I sold insurance to large restaurants. And I can tell you, I probably violated the insurance statutes every week 3 or 4 times, because I took people to lunch all the time. And most of us don't do a lot of raffles in the insurance agency world. So that's probably in there because some larger organizations, probably not the retail agent, but some larger organizations probably conduct some raffles, and they have probably overstepped their bounds. And I don't see any of our members probably doing a raffle for $100. I just don't see that. But it does probably throttle some out-of-state activity coming in and conducting that kind of a raffle type thing. So I think that's a good piece of legislation there.
Fascinating. Committee, any other questions? No? All right. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Additional public testimony.
Mr. Chairman, members of
Yes.
the committee. Catherine Wilkinson on behalf of American Property and Casualty Insurance Association, just standing in support, brief message of support with the bill as amended from the, engrossed in front of you with amendments on the Senate side. Stand for any questions.
Committee, any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilkinson. Additional public testimony. Additional public testimony. Are you sure? Okay. Going once, going twice. Is there anybody online?
Nice try.
All right. Guess I'll close public testimony. Committee, what is your pleasure? Moved by Representative Harshman and seconded by Representative Chadwick. This will burn some time. Any amendments on page 1? How about page 2? Page 3? Page 4? Amendments to page 5? Amendments to page 6? Page 7? Page 8? Amendments to page 9?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
line 8, I'd like to strike 20 and add 30 and use 30 days notice prior. Little more is always a little better and a little less.
Okay, so on page 9, line 8, you want to strike 21 and replace with 30?
To 30.
Okay. Second, is there a second on that amendment? It's a good amendment. Seconded by Representative Ottman. At one time, there was a philosophy that you wanted to always put your thumbprint on any Senate file that came over, so that's my discussion on this amendment. 30 is better than 21. Any other discussion on this amendment? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, did we just mess anything up?
We can do it in 21 days. Want to make it 30?
Was this model language or? Okay. All right, just making sure we're not messing anything up. We definitely don't want to do that to this little insurance bill. Okay, any other amendments on page 9? Page 10? What's the magic behind $100?
Mr. Chairman, Brian Stevens, Licensing Supervisor. We had set it at $100 just internally. There are quite a few of us that worked in the industry that work at the department now. We felt it was a good number. When this was in the interim, Mr. Houck and his group came and testified on it too, and they agreed on that and set the hard cap at 1,000. So we respect the folks that are in the field and what their feelings are in this, and that was a lot of the amounts set were their doing.
Okay, very good. Any amendments to page 10? Amendments to page 11? And amendments to page 12? Nope. All right. No discussion on this bill. Barb, will you do a roll call vote on Senate File 6, Insurance Rebating Modernization?
Representative Chadwick? Representative Haroldson?
Aye.
Representative Harshman?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Knapp?
Aye.
Representative Newsom? Representative Ottman?
Aye.
Representative Wiley?
Aye.
Representative Yin? Chairman Olson?
Aye.
9 aye.
Perfect.
You
And
pass with amendments.
Okay, and Representative Knapp, this is yours to floor manage. All right. All right, committee, we are adjourned.
That was the fastest we've done. Just smile, they'll let you have it.